Uh-oh, ancient ruins. This can only mean one thing. It's summer vacation 2013, and this summer Steve and I go to Colorado and Utah. Behind me you can see the Spruce House, which is just one of the several ruins that you can see at Mesa Verde National Park. Mesa Verde was the first stop on our trip. Yesterday on August 28th we left Manhattan, Kansas and headed across Kansas and eastern Colorado, ending at Alamosa, Colorado. This morning we woke up at Alamosa and headed through the mountains and then eventually ended up here at Mesa Verde. After arriving at Mesa Verde, we first stopped briefly at the Visitor Center, where we picked up information and tickets for the park's guided tours. We then made our way into the park and to the Chapin Mesa area. After eating some lunch, we went to the Chapin Mesa Museum, which features artifacts and describes the development of settlements on the mesa. We then made our way down to Spruce Tree House, the third largest cliff dwelling in the park. This largely reconstructed and reinforced structure was our first exposure to ancient Puebloan architecture, which features small living spaces and underground rooms called kivas. The kivas served as functional living spaces that also had important religious symbolism. While Spruce Tree's house was largely reconstructed, it is approximately 95% original material. While most of the kivas are now open on the top, originally they were covered. Spruce Tree House featured several reconstructed kivas, including one that you can enter and explore. After leaving Spruce Tree House, we got on the Petroglyph Trail. This 3-mile round-trip trail takes visitors through the Spruce Canyon to Pictograph Point, which features the largest group of petroglyphs in the park. Petroglyphs are artistic symbols carved directly into the rock. One interpretation of the symbols is that it describes how people came to live on Mesa Verde, though it is hard to know for sure. We continued back along the trail towards Spruce Tree House. We next went to Cliff Palace for the tour of the largest and most famous ruin in the park. Cliff Palace also the largest cliff dwelling in North America, contains 23 kivas and 150 rooms. It has been estimated that 100 people could have lived here when it was inhabited. To get to Cliff Palace, we had to go down several stairs and up a short ladder. Our tour guide provided commentary, and we learned how the structures had been restored after being discovered. We also heard about how Cliff Palace was originally constructed and the use of the different structures, such as Speaker Chief House, which has been interpreted as a place of importance in the village. We also heard again about the importance of kivas as ceremonial and social spaces. These are often contrasted with the small, utilitarian living spaces found throughout the cliff dwellings. After our exploration of Cliff Palace was finished, we made our way back up to the top of the mesa. We next stopped at some nearby overlooks, which pointed out some other cliff dwellings, such as the House with Many Windows and the Hemingway House. After this, we stopped at the Cedar Tree Tower and walked the Farming Terraces Loop Trail. Stephen, can you tell me what we're looking at? If you understand
terraced gullies to hold crops.
Hold crops and water?
Yes. Terraces, planting crops. Which is what I guess is...
So these terraces would be used to plant crops and capture water when it rained. Because these people planted up here on the top of the mesa, but lived in houses below, which not here, but elsewhere. So, interesting. Why don't we go see what else we can see?
Yeah.
We were able to see several more examples of farming terraces before returning to the car. Good first part of the day in Mesa Verde?
Sure, great.
What'd you think of the structures?
Pretty impressive.
And mysterious.
Yes, mysterious. Why did they leave? Why did they build them in the first place?
Yeah.
Who knows? Your guess is best as mine.
We finished the day by enjoying the view of the surrounding area from the top of Mesa Verde, before leaving the park and driving to the nearby Cortez, Colorado. Good morning. Today is July 30th, 2013. It's the third day of our summer trip Yesterday, after leaving Mesa Verde, we headed to the nearby Cortez KOA to spend the night. This morning we got up, had some breakfast, and now we're on the road again, heading back to Mesa Verde to go see some more of the ruins that they have there. So it should be another interesting day, and yeah. Steven's driving. Drive, Steven, drive. After re-entering Mesa Verde National Park, we started to explore the Mesa Top Loop, a drive that takes visitors through excavated examples of architecture found in the park, from the earliest examples of pit houses to the latest cliff dwellings. Stops include a view of the Navajo Canyon and an overlook of Square Tower House. The next stop took us to more examples of pit houses and early development of Pueblo architecture in Kivas. Often the excavation showed how later structures were built on top of older ones and how the kiva continued to have significance in the ancestral Puebloan way of life. From Sun Point, we could see Cliff Palace and other cliff dwellings. We did not stay for long here, since we had a tour of Balcony House to get to. This is the most physically challenging of the tours in the park, but it is also the most rewarding. We had to descend several cases of stairs before climbing a ladder to get into Balcony House. For some, the climb takes longer than for others. Following the climb, we had to slip down a narrow tunnel to arrive in the main part of the ruin. Got a good butt shot.
Hey. That's not the point.
Okay. Hey, Steven.
Kaylee went through the thing. Kaylee went through the thing.
It's called Soda Canyon. The other main canyon is called Navajo Canyon. Every other sandstone, since it is sediment, you know, it has horizontal lines.
The tour guide explained how the structures were built and how the ancestral Puebloans lived in the small spaces.
This was 1910. I mean, come on. Yeah. Well, thank you.
The tour was exciting because it gave us a chance to move through and behind these amazing structures. This is what one of the backs of these would look like.
Yeah.
Over in Cliff Palace, we couldn't see the back.
This is why it's so much cooler than the other two. You're actually walking inside of them.
Yeah, that's raising sheep, getting their own dollars. That next layer of logs a little bit, and it'll make your circle smaller and smaller. But it's a very genius roof design.
We continued to see evidence of the people who had lived here in the kiva,
The door access to it is right over
the ash-stained rooms, and the handprint art.
We'll get your head in there too.
Oh.
Yeah. But you've done it long enough. Stop. Now, drag your fingers across right there. And look at your fingers. And they're dusty or sandy. Sandstone and sandstone. What have you made? Sand. Imagine eating corn that's got a lot of sand in it.
We also learned how they made their food and how it affected their health.
Basically had horrible teeth. By 40 they had
One of those really tedious processes you like this one here. Okay. That would have been impossible.
When these guys did this,
To get out of the structure, we had to make our way through another tunnel and up several more ladders. Our tour of Balcony House was certainly one of the best experiences in the park. Next, we drove to the Wetherill Mesa area of the park to take a tour of Longhouse. Visitors to the Wetherill Mesa must use trams to explore the area. Our tram took us to the trail that descended to Longhouse. Longhouse is the second largest cliff dwelling in the park. On our tour, we learned how the dwellings were discovered and first studied. Other aspects pointed out was where the food was stored in the area above the main buildings and how material was often recycled to build and repair structures. Another climb took us into Longhouse. We heard again about how the structures were built and how the residents sharpened the tools that they had used. Residents of Longhouse collected water from a spring in the back of the house, often in round collecting cups. We also saw examples of art painted on the walls of the cave. Like the other ruins in the park, there were also several examples of kivas. Longhouse was an impressive and memorable structure. After leaving Longhouse, we explored the nearby Badger House community. From pit houses to kivas to Pueblo villages, this self-guided trail takes visitors through several excavated areas that demonstrated 600 years of changing architectural styles, much like the sites on the Mesa Top Loop. After this, we went to the Kodak House Overlook, which was named when a Swedish researcher left his camera at the site in 1891. Next, we went to the Longhouse Overlook, where we could see another tour in progress. We returned to the van and drove to the Farview area, which had several examples of some of the most recent construction on the mesa. Examples such as the Farview House and the Pipe Shrine House were probably built between AD 900 and 1300. Coyote Village and its numerous kivas may have been built as early as AD 800. The nearby Mummy Lake is thought to be an example of an artificial reservoir built to collect and store water for the villages. The site also featured Megalithic House and Farview Tower. Following this, we returned to the Mesa Top Loop to get a better view of Oak Tree House, Fire Temple, and New Firehouse. Fire Temple is believed to have been used for community ceremonies, not as a place to live. Next, we visited Sun Temple, one of the last structures built on the mesa, and was perhaps built as a place of worship, though it was never completed. No one knows why. From the Sun Temple area, you can get a great view of Cliff Palace. Stephen and I next went to hike the short Soda Canyon Overlooks Trail, which gave us views of both Soda Canyon and Balcony House. Where are we and what's behind us?
We're at the Balcony House Overlook, and the Balcony House is over there.
Yeah, so we're close to finishing out our day at Mesa Verde. Can you tell us a little about what you liked about today and what you thought about today?
I mean, we got to see a lot of stuff today. A lot of cliff dwellings, ancient Puebloan ruin sites. A little bit of hiking, not a lot, but you know, a lot of driving.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was a decent day.
We finished the day by going to the Park Point Overlooks, the highest points in the park, and featured a fire overlook trail and several great views of the surrounding area. After enjoying the view, we left Mesa Verde for the last time.